Devin Hollister, a boy like no other, club sipping beer and raising hell with his brothers.
So Sisu tells the story of an ex-commando Finnish soldier and gold miner during World War II who gets hunted down by a company of Nazis. Hey everybody, how's it going? It's me, Devin Hollister. I'm finally back. It's been a while, but I'm ready to create another video. And today we're going to go away from the Nightmare on Elm Street films because we're finally done with those movies. And we're going to talk about a movie that actually came out last year. I know I'm supposed to be talking about more relevant, more newer stuff, especially from this year. But I decided to talk about this hidden gem that we got last year that I didn't really see a lot of people talk about. I talked a little bit about my channel with the end of the year ranking that I did. But today we're going to finally talk about it for real. And it's called Sisu, which is probably one of the funniest and craziest action movies I've ever seen in my life. Now, for those of you who had not seen or heard about this movie, it kind of became the joke that this was John Wick's grandfather. And so what you basically have here is an idea of what would an old John Wick be like fighting against a group of Nazis during World War II. And that's basically what this film premise is about. So let's just get straight right into the film, guys. And if you enjoyed this review and want to watch any of my other types of reviews, my Nightmare on Elm Street review series, anything like that, please subscribe and please like this video. Thank you guys for watching, and let's get into Sisu. Now, even though it may seem kind of generic, this movie has a really great depiction of kind of revolving the whole movie around one word, which is called the name of the movie, which is Sisu, which is a untranslatable Finnish word for bravery or never giving up. That is what the main character of Atami Korpi, who's the old ex-commando Finnish soldier, as we learned throughout the film, a little bit about him and why exactly is that he's so good at fighting and avoiding, being killed by these Nazis. And we learned that because he was a Finnish commando who went out and killed almost 300 Russians because they killed his family, and so he joined the army to get revenge. And apparently the Finnish army it came to a point to where they could not control this guy, so they sent him out by himself, and he was a one-man death squad. This guy was unstoppable. But we learned through the beginning of the movie that he kind of wants to leave this war. He kind of wants to just have a life of his own now. And so he's a gold miner. He's out in the Finnish, Badlands or whatever. And apparently, eventually he finds some gold. He finds some gold in the ground, and, he's super excited about that. And so he's trying to find a town that has a bank that he could cash all that in. But in order to get there, he has to get past through these group of Nazis who just burnt a town that he was trying to get to. And that starts the conflict and the reasons why the Nazis are after him. You get this leader of the Nazis, and he comes to find out that Atami Korpi has this gold. And he explains to his fellow soldier that we are losing this war. He basically says, if we get that gold from that crazy old man, we could trade that in for our lives, because they know as soon as we go back home when this war is over, they're just going to kill us all because we were Nazis. So that gives them an interesting motivation to actually, other than because it's just gold, that gives them more of a reason to actually go after Korpi. But they obviously soon start to realize that that is a fatal mistake. What's also nice is how this movie is told in a certain sequence of chapters. I think that how every scene, when it transitions into a new chapter, the way it is transitions, it kind of throws you off, and it kind of makes you even more excited for the next part. Like chapter 1, the gold, and then chapter 2, the Nazis, and then chapter 3, the mines. All that stuff is pretty well done, and I think it's very stylish, and I was very entertained by how those sequences were made. Now, you kind of also get a bit of feminine bravery in here as well. A lot of lead roles that have feminine characters with this type of stuff, 90% of the time they don't really turn out that entertaining. But this one was very well done because you get a group of Finnish girls who are held captive by these Nazis, and there's a particular one character who unfortunately does certain things to them. When they get their revenge at the end, spoiler alert, you are very well rooting for these girls, obviously, because of what this soldier was doing to them, how these other soldiers were treating them, and how Korpi comes around to finally save them, gives them guns. It's a very awesome third act, which I'll talk more about in a second, but you actually are very supportive of the feminine bravery that is portrayed in this movie, and it is very well done. And a lot of movies should actually follow that. Now, going more on about the main character of Korpi, he doesn't really say anything until the final scene of the movie. And I think that actually fits his character very well because there's a lot of mysteriousness going on with him. You learn only a few slight details. The Russians killed his family. He's a one-man death squad. But other than that, I mean, you really don't, like, you don't need any more information, but he's still, like, very interesting. Like, you still want to know a lot more about him. Like, how was he able to train himself in such ways that no other soldier could? He's very gritty. He's very determined. He's very epic. He's very awesome. He's awesome with fighting. He does crazy stuff during the movie just to heal himself, where he'll put dirt on a wound, or he'll stitch his stomach together with old wires. It's insane what this guy does in this movie just to survive.
What the fuck is going on?
Then you get all the crazy good special effects. You know, with the fighting, there comes a lot of grittiness, with a lot of blood, and you get very good action scenes. They're very well shot. You can completely see what's going on. And while there are certain issues with some of them, and I'll talk about that in a minute, I think the action is very well done in this movie. It may be a little bit over-exaggerated, but it's very well done. It's very entertaining. It keeps the movie flowing very well and very excitingly just good. So overall, you know, if you're an epic action fan, this certainly has a lot of crazy good John Wick vibes to it. I understand that it is made by Lionsgate, this film, which I believe also made the John Wick movies. So obviously they got a lot of, they probably also had the same filmmakers for this movie, if I believe. I'm pretty sure they had that listed in the trailers. But I think overall, if you're a great action fan, you will enjoy this movie for what it is. And the story, even though there's not a crazy amount of story in this movie, Tommy Corby, he is an awesome action film. And I can see how people could make plenty of theories of him being related to John Wick. It could be possible, I believe it. But I'm not comparing these films to John Wick at all. You know, two different types of movies. I'm only basing this movie on itself, not on those movies. Now, talking about what is kind of wrong in between, like, this is the part where I have to say there are some things that are good and bad together in this film, kind of like a mixed type of thing. And so there's a lot of scenes to where he's kind of, you're really questioning the believability of how this guy is able to survive certain events. So there's certain things in this movie that, while are cool, are funny, are entertaining, and there's just no way in hell this guy could, or anybody could survive these certain things. Probably the most, there's so many of them in this movie, but there's two main parts of this movie that I really have to question, like, could anybody survive that? And one of them is definitely no. The other one is maybe. So the first one that's definitely no is the scene to where he is able to bring the boat to the other side of the river, and he puts the dead soldier on his back. The guy with the sniper, he goes up to the tank, he shoots a machine gun turret at him. However, Corby has the guy on his back, and for some reason, that dead corpse that he's carrying is able to be a shield for him. There's no way in hell. When I first watched the movie, I was sitting with my friend, and he's kind of like a history buff with this type of stuff. He would say, I mean, you don't even need to be a history buff to know this. There's no way in hell that just using the dead body would protect you from that machine gun turret. It would go through both of you guys. And so, you know, unfortunately, like, it's not that, it doesn't bother anyone that bad. It's kind of funny to watch in a way. It's kind of comedic, but at the same time, it's like, you know, that's just totally unbelievable. And it's certainly something that I'm mixed on. And then also as well, you have the one of the final scenes in the movie where a plane crashes into this mud, and somehow he gets out of that. So you guys have to watch the scene for yourself to believe it, which it's just crazy stuff.
Got him!
I mean, that one is theoretically, maybe you could survive that. I'm pretty sure, because I've never survived a plane crash. Like, I've actually never even been in an airplane, but I don't know. Someone's got to debug that one, or whatever the word is. And there's also many other elements like that in the movie too, where how can someone survive these certain types of things? The movie also kind of suggests that maybe he is, because his nickname given by the Russians is the Immortal. So maybe theoretically, they don't like actually confirm it, but maybe he does have some sort of supernatural immortality or invincibility. So I don't know, maybe that could be the answer why. And movie maybe has suggested that, so maybe it's not all BS, so we'll see. But overall, I really have no negatives with this movie. Nothing wrong that I don't like. You know, I really enjoy this movie. Every time I've watched it a million times ever since it came out last year. I still find it so entertaining and so refreshing to watch every time, because it's just one of those movies where you can just sit down. You don't have to like get so involved in a story. You don't have to get too complicated with things. You just watch a guy mess up some Nazis. And for me, and it's well done. It's not like one of those generic things out there. It's well shot, just constant great action. You get a great main character. You got some cool feminine characters going on, getting revenge on the people that wronged them. And overall, it's just you sit down and it's something you could just turn your brain off in, and it masterfully does that. And we really need more movies like that nowadays, because some movies take themselves way too seriously and get way too complicated, and you see why everybody craps on them. And it's just like, just give us a movie that is good, but also good enough for us to turn our brains off, and it's still entertaining, it's still also a masterpiece. This movie, to me, it's not 100% masterpiece, because like I said, it has certain unbelievable elements to it. But guys, this is a great film. I really recommend it to you all. You know, I had it way high on the list last year for my end of the year ranking. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for watching so much. Thank you for watching this review. I will have another video out next week on a movie that has come out this year. I don't know exactly what movie that will be. I'm trying to talk more about relevant movies, so I promise you guys I will have more stuff out for that. That way I can kind of just use that for my end of the year ranking again. I saw Bad Boys 4, so maybe I'll talk about that, but I don't know. So thank you everybody for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. And remember, you could be spending with your time, just goodbye. Sorry, I'm sorry, I love you. I love you.
Living Hollister, a boy like no other, love sipping beer and raising hell with his brothers.
It's not the onion making me cry. It ain't the onion.